Black history is the cornerstone of the United States of America. Every American should understand and be exposed to the truth. Black history is American history. Yet often during Black History Month, we celebrate through social media platforms, schools, churches, and other locations those African Americans that have made tremendous contributions to society. Typically, we hear about Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, President Barack Obama, Frederick Douglass, and Rosa Parks. Nah, but today I want to celebrate my African American hero, Marshal Brown.
My name is Marshal Brown. I'm the local historian here at the famous Ben Silly Bowl. It's this street called U Street that was put together by African-American slaves. Basically what I do here is to tell a little story, a little history about Ben Silly Bowl and about the history of U Street, which is my history and your history. I grew up in a small town called Lakewood, New Jersey. One day I woke up and there was a leaflet under my door saying freedom now. And from there I would take a bus to Mississippi to join the Students for Equal Rights and the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, and eventually with Dr. Martin Luther King. It was there I would see racism at its bears, working in Mississippi, working in Alabama, Georgia, all over. And they're gonna bring you guys out some chili and cheese. Now, Ben Silly Bowl is the integrationist to this heart. And when you come in here, everybody's integrated. White and black, young and old, upper class, middle class, lower class, no class. You know, you might be sitting here, and there's a judge, and right next to him is the same junkie that he locked up. I can imagine with Dr. Martin Luther King. It's an oasis. You know, I mean, anybody can go out to Kentucky or West Virginia or Mississippi or Ohio. It's all segregated. It's pretty obvious. Just take Washington, D.C., you know. In the back, it used to cost $50,000 for a townhouse. It now costs $750,000. I think they call that gentrification. There used to be a kiddie park. It's a doggy park now, you know. They'd never put a dime into the kiddie park where kids could go and play. As soon as another crew came here with their little dogs, that's where everybody dumped $100,000 in the same park.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear.
I knew that here in my lifetime, I would get a chance to see an African American become president. At the same time, I would see the decline of my own people. I wish the president well. I hope he succeeds, but I don't put my whole everything into Obama being president. It was great to have an African-American president, but things have not changed. In fact, the white community got an opportunity to release the guilt they had by saying that they voted for an African-American to be president. In fact, some white folks will tell me today they can't be prejudiced. I asked them why. They say, I voted for Obama. My. Let me tell you something. There have been 43 presidents, I believe. 42 of them have been white, and white people are still poor. So that should tell you what the presidency might mean to anybody.
Marshal Brown was born to Elijah Fletcher in Cortland, Virginia. He was a great young baseball player. Matter of fact, he was the only black player on his team in the Babe Ruth League. After graduating from high school, he enrolled in Central State University in Ohio. His first week on campus, he received a flyer that was placed under his dorm room door. The flyer was recruiting people to join the civil rights movement, helping register black people to vote in Mississippi. So of course, what did he do? He left on the first bus and joined the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee in Mississippi and never looked back. He never stopped fighting for the rights of black people in America. He has worked for every president that I can remember. He was one of the most sought-after field organizers in the country. No one ran for office in the district or the DMV area or through the country whose campaign did not reach out to him and ask him for advice or to hire him. He never compromised his core values of making sure that black Americans were recognized for their contributions to society, their love for family, and receive parity in the areas of education and economics. He is also like many other African-American men and women who never gets mentioned in the history books, who made significant sacrifices so that we could have a Martin Luther King or President Obama. He's the only black man I know that's been awarded 2 keys to major cities in the United States, Cincinnati, Ohio, and Washington, D.C. by Mayor Muriel Bowser. While he never held elected office in his life, He wasn't a millionaire or a big-time fundraiser who wrote big checks. You see, he didn't have his own company and employed thousands of people, but yet he was recognized by this unnamed individual while working at Ben's Chili Bowl, where he spent the last remaining time on Earth giving presentations to tourists from all over the world about the bowl and the plight of African Americans. After hearing Marshal Brown's story, he respected his lifetime of service to this country so much, he made some phone calls, and before he passed away, he was able to see the American flag flown above the United States Capitol, along with a letter that read the following. This flag was flown in honor of Mr. Marshal Brown. It also symbolizes the dedication and countless sacrifices that have been made by Mr. Brown for his unwavering patriotism to this country, his fellow citizens, and most importantly, his children and grandchildren. Our country is forever grateful to Marshall, a loving and devoted father, and above all, a great American. God bless the Brown family. This was handed to him right after the flag was flown above the council. I will leave you with this story told to me by my good friend Sean Mitchell. He told me a story of how he once told my father that he looked up to him for being a great father. Then he asked him, how did he learn to be a great dad? My father looked at him and told him, my father taught me. Sean then responded, with all due respects, Mr. Brown, you never knew your father. My father immediately responded, exactly, that's how he taught me. So you see, no matter who you are, you too have American heroes in your family and close to you that have made significant contributions to this country. We would love to hear about them. Email us at me@marshallbrowninstitute.org and we will try to highlight them on our show throughout the year. You see, here at Always Real Talk, we believe that Black history is not a month, it's all year long. And that, my friends, is my Always Real Talk of the moment.